Hi guys, welcome back to Welcome Learning series from Credence Learning Foundation. Today I'm going to present a reflection on my learnings on teachers facilitation. The way teachers facilitate learning in classroom, or it could be the way parents facilitate learning to their children. This is more of a reflection I'm presenting from a workshop, online workshop which I have attended as a series of programs learning from Montessori, Dewey, and Jiddu Krishnamurti. Like this, it was a series of seven facilitators which were being understood in the program. Now I like to put a few points I learned from Arohi's program on facilitation. Um, First thing is, let us understand why a teacher is called as facilitator. Teacher's role is not just to transfer knowledge. Teacher is more of facilitating for a learner to learn or build a knowledge. So the teacher is facilitating. The teacher is not just transferring the knowledge. Yes, some information might be being transferred, but the knowledge is getting constructed through facilitation. First aspect which was discussed was on trust. So it is very important for a facilitator, first of all, to build a very comfortable climate in the learning environment. Learning environment is not necessary to be a classroom, it could be any space of learning. So facilitator is a key stakeholder in setting the good climate for learning and creating a very positive mood around the learning environment. So it is very important that the facilitator has a belief that a child is trustworthy, and a facilitator start with trust in the abilities and capabilities of the learner to learn what is being focused in the learning process. And the learner should have a capability to achieve and lead the learning. So this is something about trust. So let us move to the next component. So the second component is goal. First component was trust and second component is goals. So it is very important that the facilitator helps to elicit and clarify the purpose of learners and their efforts. It is very important that the goal is fixed clearly regarding the learning environment. So the learner and the facilitator should know the outcome of the learning process, and also it is very important that the goals should have meaning to the learner. So it's not something rote learning, or it's not something towards the exam perspective or a assessment perspective. It should be a lifelong learning perspective. The goal should have a real meaning, and then it will become a motivational force for a learner to learn the knowledge which is being acquired. So this is about having a goal of learning. Both are on a similar page, learner and the facilitator. In our way of telling, we can say that it is the student and the teacher being on the same page about the learning outcome. This was the second aspect about goal. And the third aspect is about exposures. So it says that consciously and constantly a facilitator should bring a variety of new exposures into the learning environment. So it is very important for a facilitator to constantly bring a new exposures, a kind of awe and wonder in the learning, so that it becomes a learning factor, a factor for a factor for learner to attach towards the learning. And fourth one is resources. The facilitator is provider of resources, not of learning. There's one aspect about the facilitator in the learning. It says that the facilitator is providing the resources for learning to happen. It is not provider of learning itself, because learning is something which should intrinsically come from the learner. You're getting this point. I think it's a very important point here to understand. The facilitator is not providing the learning. The facilitator is providing the resources for learning. The resources could be teaching learning materials. The resources could be the reference books. The resources could be the textbooks provided in the school. It could be things like this as part of resources. Even a classroom, a good learning environment also could be a resource. But the real important thing is the facilitator do not provide the learning. The learning comes from the learner, but a facilitator provides the resources for learning to happen. And also it says that facilitator is aware of resources which are available and which can be brought into the learning at those period of learning, particularly learning which can be particularly the resources which could be connected to the learning, and the resources which are brought in should connect to the children's activities, and also the facilitator should offer them as a choice. The again here is a concept of intrinsically a learner should select the learning resource. It should not be put on him that this resource has to be used for learning. The learning resources also should be, I mean, it's like a free choice given to a learner to select the resource. This is a part of resources. And when it comes to available, actually these are the learnings from Carl Roger's concept of learning. So this has been taken from Carl Rogers. This is about the availability. Carl Rogers somewhere points out the term congruent is the one I have used to describe the way I would like to be. By this I mean that whatever feeling or attitude I am experiencing would be matched by my awareness of that attitude. When this is true, then I am a unified or integrated person in the moment, and hence I can be whatever I deeply I am. So it's somewhere pointing out in terms of like whatever feeling or attitude we are experiencing should be matched with the awareness of that attitude. So this is about the availability. So it's somewhere connecting to the feeling and the attitude of the learner. And when it comes to again available, just to elaborate the point on availability, the available is it regards to the student himself as a flexible resource to be utilized by the learners. Here it means facilitator as a flexible resource to be utilized by the learners. And it also means children can ask to teach what she knows, ask her to team up, to be with, look at her, to inspire in whatever way he can. And when it comes to provokes, there is a concept of the thinking. During the learning there should be some stimuli. The concept should stimulate kind of, it should promote thinking in terms of a lot of questions, a lot of challenges during the work. And other factor is the facilitator should create situations, should bring in a kind of challenges, problems and the materials in a way that it provokes a learner to learn. Again, it is very important for a learner to get connected with the learning process. And when it comes to learner, somewhere Carl Rogers put it, I am living in a way which is deeply satisfying to me and which truly expresses me. So it is something about a way which is satisfying. When you connect a learner, it is somewhere when it is satisfying us, or if it is satisfying learner, and which truly expresses my current state or my feeling. So, to elaborate the learner a little, the learner should be a explorer, he should be a doer, and learner is a constant learner. And learner is a member of a community. Community in the sense, my classroom could be a community, and my whole school could be community. And if I'm learning something out of my school, and that out of this school voluntary organization or my literacy club. This could be a community. So a learner is a member of a community, a learner is a participant. So here we can connect it to the teamwork. Yeah. And again, learner is feeling himself to be equal to all, and there is something in terms of a team learning aspect. And when it comes to sharing, a learner shares his views and feelings in non-imposing way, and the learner expresses his points as a member only. And there is something in terms of expressing your thoughts during the process of learning. I think it's more of a group learning, collaborative learning, and cooperative learning. I think you can elaborate these aspects in terms of this sharing concept. And when it comes to perception, there's one point made by Carl Rogers. He said, "We think we listen, but very rarely do we listen with real understanding, true empathy. Yet, listening of this very special kind is one of the most potent forces to change that I know." So I think he's really trying to put across something on listening. When he makes the first sentence, "We think we listen, but very rarely do we listen with real understanding." So when I discuss about this, I really understand and remember about one of the concept which I was discussing in one of the session. It's about how we listen to others. When we are listening to others, always there is a attitude in us to answer him back, to respond him. But in real sense, when I'm listening to somebody in a group or in a community of learning, my real intention of listening should be to understand what the other person is expressing. After listening to him, then understanding what the other person is explaining me, then comes a time for me to understand all those expressions from him, then think the correct expression, then respond to him. Otherwise, what happens? Most of the times we start reacting. So actually, without understanding the real intention of his putting those points. So it's very important in terms of more of understanding, more of listening, in terms of a relationship between a facilitator and a learner. And one more aspect on perceptibility is the facilitator understands the strong emotions, individual needs, wants, and he brings them in open for constructive understanding. So I think there are a lot of aspects on listening skills in this aspect. And when it comes to limitation, the facilitator recognizes and accepts the limitations, both intellectual and emotional. The concept here is you cannot make a fish to climb a tree, and you cannot make a lion to swim. So it's like everybody has got their own skills, and they have to be tested, and they have to be measured in their own abilities. When you discuss about this aspect, I also understand and remember one of the aspect from Howard Gardner's multiple intelligence theory. So there's a very beautiful concept of innate abilities of each and every individual being unique. So it is very important for a facilitator to really understand what are the real needs of the student and learner in his learning community or in his classroom. So the challenge which I see in today's classrooms is related to the number of students present in the classes. So earlier, before 2 decades, when I used to see few classes in large schools, there used to be 50 plus and 60 plus students in each class. Now this has come down. When you really look at the classrooms, you can see around 30 to 40 children. But when it comes to individual attention given to the student, this is also a very large number. So ideally it should be somewhere 18 to 25, somewhere 22, or a maximum it should be around 26 to 28. So in an average it is 25 children per classroom, and somewhere we can look at individual attention given to these children. But looking at the current factor in terms of the student and class teachers ratio, there's a lot of high ratio. For every 40-45 children, there's one class teacher. I think this is also one of the limitation for a facilitator to really understand the learner in a individual perspective. The other factor I like to cover is, for a challenge of facilitator is, a facilitator, if you look at the current school systems, a teacher is engaged not only with the classroom and the classroom learning. In most of the schools, teachers are connected to the substitution classes, and teachers are connected to the academics of the school, and there's little focus on the classroom learning. There's little focus on the classroom preparation. So you cannot tell a teacher directly to come prepared for a class. There should be some environment created. There should be some support system created where the teachers, as a group, as a community, prepare for a class, and there is a set of systems, and there is a set of procedures for a teacher to prepare a classroom lesson planning, classroom preparation, and submit to a very senior person or a coach in a school, and that coach gives feedback, and there is a lot of learning happening to a facilitator too. This was something about Carl Roger's understanding on facilitation. So we have covered some aspects of a trust towards learner, and goals of the learning, that is the learning outcomes, and a few aspects on the understanding between a facilitator and a learner, and aspects of the individual attention given to the learners, and also a few aspects on learner as part of a large learning group and large learning community. Thank you for being here once again with this video from Credence Learning Foundation. Thanks for watching. Until the next video, take care, goodbye, see you, bye bye.